A yellow dwarf star burned brightly against the void, a lone sentry in the outer reaches of the Empire's dominion. 6 planets rotated around the star, making their journey through the vast cosmos together. In the distance, a blue laser came from the obsidian expanse, hitting the sun directly in the middle. The yellow star began to change shades, and within moments, it had turned a blazing baby blue. Zadrox felt the temperature rise dramatically, slowly reversing her ship to the outer sector of this system. Her neck muscles tensed up as the star began to grow. The planets closest to the star erupted into flames, reducing the barren rock worlds to smoldering remnants. The light of the star became more and more brilliant, then blinked out, collapsing into a terrifying black hole. The moons of the closest planets were drawn into the newly formed black hole first, then it began devouring all satellites surrounding Gil 5. Zadrox felt her ship shake as she slammed the reverse thrusters, narrowly escaping the growing gravitational pull of the black hole. "Frizz! I didn't expect it to be this powerful!" she yelled, her voice straining over the alarms echoing through the ship's metallic interior. "That wasn't even full power. It was set to 85%, replied Frizz, its android voice holding a hint of pride as it ignored the chaos. Their relationship had evolved over countless space missions, with Frizz serving as her loyal, if not always reliable, co-pilot. The catastrophic event unfolded before their eyes as the destruction grew exponentially. The gas giants on the outer edge of the system began losing their atmospheres, as long trails of hydrogen and helium were sucked into the black hole. Igniting suddenly, the entire scene became a fiery wall stretching across billions of miles. Zadrox stood on the bridge, shock rendering her motionless as she watched the systematic annihilation of the planets. "This wasn't supposed to happen! The device was meant to warm Gil 5 by a few degrees, not this," she muttered, clutching a small tablet displaying her mission objectives. Gil 5 was an established imperial colony. The colony itself was well over 50 years old and had grown to over 1 million colonists. The Gillians had recently discovered a platinum deposit on their planet, but were unable to complete the drilling needed to reach the ore due to extreme low temperatures on the planet's surface. The Empire believed by increasing the temperature on the planet, they would be able to melt the ice a bit and make the planet a pretty comfortable place to live. Zadrox was not a weapons expert. She knew nothing about how to increase a planet's temperature. She had just opened this business a few months ago and up to that point had only a few small projects. Using the profits from the previous work, she was able to put out an interstellar ad on the Hyper Network, opening her up to intergalactic work. "Make it until you break it," ran through her head as she watched this entire system and all of its inhabitants enter the event horizon. Zadrox's heart pounded in her chest, realization hitting her hard. "Frizz," she stammered, Did we use the right power source?" Frizz robotically answered. "The instructions said to use an XS-228 battery, but none were available, so I plugged it into the ship's engine." Zadrox jumped from her seat, a wrench clenched in her fist. Her ship, her home for the past 20 years, was now a weapon of mass destruction. Just as she was about to take out her anger on Frizz, a dozen moon-sized Imperial cruisers dropped out of hyperspace, appearing directly outside the orbit of where Gil 5 used to be. But they were too late. The black hole's growth was unstoppable, consuming everything in its wake. Zadrox then watched as the Imperial cruisers were disassembled by the strength of the black hole. A dozen of the largest starships in the galaxy were obliterated within seconds. The black hole was growing. Zadrox stared at the repossession papers for her ship taped to her console. She had been living on this ship for over 20 years, but her cargo delivery work started to dry up. One late night, while desperately trying to avoid becoming homeless, she somehow navigated to the entrepreneurial videos on the Hyper Network. Those videos were the spark she needed to finally start her own business and pick up some real contractor work. With the list of crimes increasing by the second, Zadrox asked the computer to run a long-range scan on the black hole. As the details printed on the screen, her face went pale. Black hole growth rate increasing, unable to determine size. Galaxy-class black hole possible within 2 weeks. Zadrox felt a wave of vertigo as the full realization of her mistake came into focus. She had accidentally unleashed a galaxy-destroying weapon with no way to stop it. She ordered Frizz to plot a course as far away as possible, her voice barely a whisper. As Zadrox and Frizz rocketed away, the last remnants of the Gill system were absorbed by the ever-expanding black hole. It might not matter in 2 weeks, but they were now on the run, not only from the Empire, but also from those who craved this newfound destructive power.